Welcome to Big Life Weekly Series, where we empower high achievers to break free from limits, unlock their natural potential, and live a big life. I'm your host, Robert Acosta, and each week we will explore the strategies, mindsets, and tools you need to thrive, not just in your professional career, but in every aspect of your life. Whether you're a leader looking for a better balanced life, an entrepreneur aiming for sustainable success, or someone ready to take the next step toward your best self, this podcast is your space to grow, reflect, and take action. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello, I'm Robert Acosta. I'm with Karl Klausewitz from Success Marketing LLC in Massachusetts, USA. Welcome, Karl.
Hello. Hi. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So let's get started right away to showcase your business. So, Karl, can you give us a 90-second overview of what your business does and why you got into it?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm a coaching company. I started because I decided I wasn't going to be able to do the things in life that I wanted to working for someone else at a job. And so I had previous experience in coaching and different sports and jobs myself. So when I started getting into personal development, I saw the opportunity to start coaching others, and I started practicing that and built a successful coaching practice. And so now I'm helping other coaches get started, building out a coaching community from the podcast that I've built, and helping other coaches in that community with their marketing and outreach.
Wow, that's great. So what do you enjoy most about your work in the coaching business?
Definitely helping other people. That's something I've always wanted to do since I was little. It's very rewarding, not only for yourself, but you learn from the experiences as much, and just to see other people succeed because of your help is such a remarkable thing.
Yeah, to see other people thrive because you do something with them or you help them with something, it's amazing, right? That
Yeah,
feeling.
exactly. Yeah.
So I understand you have like a B2B and B2C. You teach or help coaches, but you also have direct clients that you coach them directly?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I have a free community on Facebook that I'm starting right now. And I also have a paid community I'm building out on school with courses. So that'll be a membership, and that'll include mastermind meetings.
Right. So how do you define success in the work you do?
For me, it's more about impact and reaching people. Just because, like I said, it's so rewarding to make a difference in people's lives, and I really believe in coaching and the power of coaching to do that. So I like enabling people who are starting out in coaching to do the same.
So you mentioned something about sports. You also are a sport coach or not? Just
When I was younger, I coached at swimming and skiing. So at different ages. I taught little 5-year-olds to ski. I taught teenagers to swim. So I was really familiar with a lot of the kind of the back and forth and all that you need for life coaching. When I started into that, a lot of the dynamic was similar.
Yeah, I think the fundamentals are the same, right? The mindset for an athlete is the same as an athlete for an entrepreneur or someone that really want to reach something big. It's that's why you can coach any kind of people, I guess, right?
Yeah, totally. It's like the questioning of can I do this, and am I going to be adequate or sufficient to to do well at this. It's kind of the same dynamic. It carries over from. It's like we're all little kids in our minds.
Oh yeah, yeah. Some people never grow up, and it's okay in a way that you have fun, but it's not okay if you're not accomplishing what you want. So
Right.
you
Yeah.
grow up in your mind, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I'm just curious, what is the biggest problem or challenge that you see in this industry, in the coaching industry, and how are you solving that for yourself, your clients, your colleagues, and any referral partners that you may have?
Well, it's the good thing about it is that anybody can do it. I mean, anybody can read enough to get certified, but that's also the bad thing about it. So it makes for a really crowded marketplace,
Right.
and it makes it difficult to stand out and get started and really be able to get traction. And so that's kind of the thing that I help new coaches with.
Right. So it's not only have a paper that says I'm a certified coach. So what do you think about the yes to be a coach the your life your experience in life how what kind of bearing they have into your coaching practice?
Yeah, that's a great question because I think that it's not enough to just get a license or to read a bunch of books. You have to really experience transformation yourself because that's what people are looking for when they're looking for coaching. They're looking for some sort of transformation. And so you have to have had that in your own life. And so all the things that I coach people on are transformations that I've made myself and improvements that I've made in my own life. So I know what I'm talking about from having to make these changes and pull myself up. So I think that's really important to coach yourself first.
Yeah, and even though you say, and I agree that the coaching industry is there's a lot of people, it's crowded of a lot of people, but we can be different because we have different experiences, right?
Yeah, yeah, totally. And everybody has a different story and different skills and talents to offer. So I think there endless space at the table for us all wanting to help each other.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
there's so much change in the world right now. All the change is happening faster and faster. So we're all needing more support from each other.
Right. Yeah, that's mandatory. Maybe that's why a lot of people are doing it or looking for a coach. I hope so. So, who is your ideal client, and what significant outcomes can they expect when they connect with you or work with you?
Sure. Yeah. I usually work with entrepreneurs and business owners or people who are partners in small companies. I it really focused on changing your daily habits and rituals as far as what you're spending your time on and how you're organizing your day. And I think it's really important to reflect your priorities in your day and your schedule. And I think a lot of people struggle with how they spend their time
Hmm.
because it's easy to fall into bad habits.
Okay.
So I think that on average, I can make quite a significant difference in people's productivity and their their personal life as well as their professional life. People lots of times are more comfortable just coming to you to talk about making money or having a better job, but really when it comes down to it, the mechanics of those things are in the person's own life and their individual problems. kind of what people call personal problems.
Yeah, I know everything starts with you. Everything starts with oneself. Everything starts with what you believe, and that comes it's very internal, and it comes from when you were even a kid. So you set up those beliefs, and some people live in those beliefs all their life, and sometimes they're not even yours. So
Yeah,
they were
totally.
imposed for someone else, and you just absorb it, and you bought the ticket and say,
Mhm.
well, that's the ticket of my life. But now you can transform it. That's why a coach like you help people to, if you are doubting or you want to live a different life, you can transform it. You can change your beliefs, and I think
Right.
that's the main thing, right? And
Yeah, yeah. That's where you get the most traction and make the most significant changes, because that's where the action that you're taking each day comes from, is your belief. That's what makes you want to do things or feel like doing things or not. And so when you change that, that's very, very powerful, that all the things that flow from that are then changed. So it becomes really easy to show things like ROI on coaching, because of all of a sudden the person sees a reason to be spending more time doing the things they love, because they figured out how to do it easier and how to love it.
yeah, that's amazing. It works all the time. So you know how nowadays more people are really actively seeking solutions to achieve better outcomes. So what makes you unique? And we were talking a little bit about that, talking about our experiences, but what makes you unique in the way you help them achieve those outcomes?
Well, I've always been fascinated by marketing, and I, ever since I was a kid, I was interested in ads in a kind of a different way, and watched them differently, as far as it being a story being told, and what are the elements of that story. And so I've always been really fascinated in how people tell their story. And I think that you can apply that in endless ways, and everybody is in some way forced to do that. And so I think helping other people to tell their story is a really powerful way of helping people to kind of take control of their own life, their own narrative, and their own outcomes.
Yeah, it's a very nice perspective. It's a very interesting perspective that marketing is that. Marketing is telling the story. That's what the
Right.
marketers does, right? So
Yes.
the question is, and you in your life, you are connecting with people, and in a way, you want people to know you. How do they know you? Is well by telling you their story, or they need
Mhm.
to know your story. So, what is the story that you want to tell? That's exactly the way you help. What the story you want really them to see in you. And if you don't like your current story, well, you can change it, and
Right.
then you
Right.
can ask a coach to help you do that, right?
Right. And what is important in your story, and why is it important to you? And so that's kind of part of the reason I'm a purpose coach, that I help people to really dive into their reason for doing what they're doing. My book is called Your Authentic Self, and I help people to really find that, and also to live more intentionally, so that way they are achieving their goals automatically every day.
Yeah, that makes sense completely. So let me ask you this. What's the strangest or funniest incident you've experienced while working in your coaching business? Is there something that you can talking about stories, do you have a funny or strange story that happened to you that you can tell publicly?
I always seem to meet people who remind me of people in my past, and it it's it can almost be ironic that the same characters kind of end up having the same similar sorts of names, or they'll have the similar characteristics about them and the personalities will match up. So it's almost like a private joke, that only you know, that when you meet these people in your life that kind of match up like that. So I have definitely met some people who seem like, people say the doppelganger, that sort of thing.
Okay. Well, in that way,
So
it's very familiar for you. So this is very, very easy to make that connection with that people, even
yeah,
though it's a new person, right?
yeah, and maybe part of that is just kind of the way my mind works too. That I am very pattern based and always look for patterns. I was
Right.
diagnosed with ADHD when I was in third grade, and so you find out that that's doesn't mean that you're deficient.
Of course.
All the way around, there's some ways that you're more enhanced, and other ways that you're set back, and it just really depends on. I thought when I was a kid, I was like, oh no, there's something wrong with my brain. Can I still be smart? Like, so, it's just your learning is slightly different. So you can see things sometimes that other people don't notice. So it can be a strength as well.
Of course, yeah. Whatever you're different, it's a blessing, I would say, because I don't know. Well, I guess I know why a lot of people in being a human, we want to fit in, because in the past you need
Mhm.
to fit in, otherwise you will be dead because you
Right.
need to live in
Yeah.
groups. So we already have that conditioning of I need to fit in,
True.
which now and I think all the time it's better to stand out. What is exactly what you are different? What is your uniqueness?
Mhm.
And then bring it to the world, because there's not gonna be another Karl or another Robert in the world. So what is exactly what
Right.
you are contributing? Find that thing and
Right.
really celebrate that I'm different and I can provide that to the world. Wow. I
Yeah.
think that's what you're talking about, or maybe
Yeah. Right
connected with
on.
your purpose. That's part of your purpose, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
And that
that's
and that's what'll make you good in business too, is realizing your strengths. That's one thing that kind of threw me off when I was a kid. They were always, you have to be well rounded, you have to be good at everything. You want to try to make up for your weaknesses, and you get out into the business world or the real world or whatever, and it's just not like that. That's not what you want. You don't want to try to do the things you're bad at.
no. Yeah, I know. It's a waste of time. Even successful people say, "I'm very good at this
Mm,
one thing.
mhm,
I
mhm.
suck at everything else,
Right.
and I don't care." Because if I'm focused on one thing and I'm very good at it, I'm getting better and better with that thing, it's enough to have a great life, as you would say, a purposeful life, a life with purpose, and you're gonna
Mhm.
make it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
We're meant to be social too. We're meant to I think, have ways that we can help each other, and our shortcomings always seem to fit together with other people and strengths, and it's very interesting when you meet people and it fits together like a puzzle.
yeah, it's amazing. In a way, yeah, it always happens, but you need to find them. So,
Mhm.
what do you see as the coming trends within your business or in your industry, the coaching industry, and how are you staying on top of that?
Well, everybody in business is kind of being forced to talk about AI now, and
Mhm.
I think that it's it is important as a business owner to take interest and be using it, because you are going to get left behind if you're not a part of it. Or I think that there are really great ways to use it and really bad ways to use it.
Because
And it can be a huge benefit for people who are trying to come up with frameworks or brainstorm ideas. into their business. I think that is a great way to use it. But as far as maybe as a writing aid, to help you develop a framework for your ideas that you can write into. But I think people have to be careful because they can get carried away with this, well, AI will do everything, and I can just pump out this AI stuff now and I don't have to do anything. And you end up with, stuff that has no quality. I mean, and so now everybody has this content everywhere that has no human experience. So it's putting a real value on that human experience. That's what people are looking for now, because the AI stuff is everywhere. Anybody can get it, and people don't care to see it anymore. So it's really, that's where I think it's important to know that that's where the value is right now, is the human experience. So it might save you time or it might help you, but there's no substitute for the human touch in business.
Oh yeah, definitely. So as they say, there are going to be only two types of people in the future, or maybe right now in the near future: the ones that use AI and the one that are jobless, so without any way of income because they are out of AI. But as you say, it's use AI, not be substituted by AI, because always the human touch, being human. It's not, at least I cannot see that AI can replace that. Not in the near future, at least, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and people always need that human experience. People say, well, what about the AI chatbot coaches replacing real coaches? And I'm like, well, the computer is not a person and it didn't have any real experience. So if you want to relate to the computer program and that's enough for you, then be my guest. But
Yeah, of course.
for me, I'd rather talk to someone who's been through what I've been through and understands me.
Right. Yeah, no, that's irreplaceable, I say. So what advice would you give to someone just starting within the coaching business, within the coaching industry?
Just start working with people and think about what you've been through and what strengths you have, like we were just talking about, and what you're good at and what transformations you've had in your life, and then just start helping other people with the same thing and start having those conversations. And it takes a lot of being turned down. You can't put yourself into any of the rejection. It's the failure that is going to make you better. So if you're not afraid to fail and you can embrace that, then you'll be successful at it.
So what would you say is that one thing that has been most instrumental to your success?
I think probably relating with people and having empathy and being able to think about how the other person is thinking about kind of their outlook and where they are in life, and kind of having an idea of that when you're talking to them, being able to put yourself in sort of in their shoes for a little bit. I think that's kind of a requirement of coaching, that you have some of that empathy, or at least a little compassion to be able to do that.
So you have had a long journey as a coach, as even from sports, and you have a lot of experience, I guess. So we were talking about AI as one of the trends, but what is the next growth area for you personally to become a better person? Because I know you're your best coach for you, and what is that growth area for your business?
Well, I think working more with other coaches and finding ideas of how they work with people. It's kind of an endless fountain that you can always find new methodologies from other coaches that in other parts of the world that you would never think of on your own, and it can be sometimes just so helpful to just have a quick 20-minute conversation. You can get an idea from so many ideas from people.
So
So
keep learning, keep
yeah.
learning. And I know coaches have coaches as well, right? I don't know if
Mhm.
you work with a coach right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
but
yeah, for sure. You have to believe in it, and kind of drink your own champagne or eat your own dog food or whatever you want to call it.
yeah, I understand.
So, you have to see what it's like to take that risk, I think, and put up some capital and invest in yourself
Right.
and see what it's like to trust someone that you're going to get the result as long as you put in the effort. I think that you don't really understand the dynamic until you've been through it on the other side, until you've been a client yourself. So that's why I think it's important.
Right. And I think on the other side of people that have never worked with a coach, that's kind of the challenges that they have never invested in themselves X amount of time or X amount of money, of course. But the idea, and that what they miss, in my opinion, is that you're not investing in who you are right now. Maybe I wouldn't invest in me either, but you're going to invest in the person that you're going to be. And that
Exactly.
person is wealthy and it's
Hmm.
healthy. So the value of that person, of that kind of life, is enormous. The worth of that life. So whatever you invest in time and money today is nothing, has to be
Right.
nothing, because you're investing in that future that you want
Right.
to
And that's
create.
who a good coach is speaking for. They're speaking for that future version of yourself and being an advocate for that future you.
Right.
So, when you're maybe having disagreements with the coach about how things should be done, and a really good coach is saying, no, 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 future you would not do it this way.
Yeah, at
And
the end, when
holding that space that and believing in that you're going to get there.
yeah, and when you believe that, you're gonna do whatever. You're gonna
Hmm.
invest and you're gonna do whatever. Not only invest your time and money, but even do things that are uncomfortable, things
Hmm.
that you have
Right.
never done before. And I think that's the formula. That's
Hmm.
the only way that you can have different results.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And with the payment, it becomes like a contract. So both the client and the coach want it. So then it changes the conversation right away. I think when you have that money on the table, it's like, it's almost like a bet. It's like a wager,
yeah,
that this thing's going to happen. So you put the money up, and then that almost is like a guarantee.
right. Yeah, the message would be in few words: bet on you,
Hmm.
bet on
Yes.
you.
Yeah. Exactly.
So let me ask you this funny question. If you could have lunch with one person, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Well, that's kind of a tough question.
No,
There's a lot of really great great marketers right now. I think, but I'm really interested in social justice and human rights
wow.
as well, and I, that sort of thing has really been at my core for a long time, and I think I would most be interested to have some lunch with somebody like Martin Luther King Jr. Just to hear, even if it was a 5 minute lunch, I think it would be unbelievable.
Yeah, I can
So
imagine.
I really believe in matters of social justice and human rights. So
Well, and if you have only 5 minutes, as you mentioned right now, let's say that you have only 5 minutes, so maybe you only have one question. What would be that question? What would you ask to Martin Luther King Jr.?
maybe what our best course of action as individuals would be right now. I mean, especially if you're a U.S. citizen these days, maybe the rest of the world is not as worried as we are.
Yeah.
Maybe you are, I don't know.
Well, yeah,
But it can be challenging and hard to tell what, it's some worrying times right now. So
yeah, that's correct. And
hard to tell what to do.
and what do you do? I know that one of your focuses, and you mentioned it, is purpose. And I remember one of the famous quotes of Martin Luther King, and it's one of my mottos, I would say, is that he said that if you haven't found something that you are willing to die for, you are not fit to live. It's amazing, that quote. It's really hard. You just wake up,
Yeah.
find your purpose, and in a way, what I said, find that thing that is unique and you only can give and contribute to the world, and give your life to it, literally. And it's going to be a very good life, a life worth living. So I think you chose very well to talk to Martin Luther King, because you're going to learn a lot.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, Karl. Well, that was amazing. I truly enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast. So, just last thing, what is the best way for people to contact you if they'd like to work with you or discuss referral partnerships?
Sure. I'm on LinkedIn all the time, or my website is karlkoach, KarlKoach.com. So they could message me on there as well.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you for being here, and I'm pleased that you said yes to this. Okay.
Yeah, and you could check out I'm on Instagram, or my podcast is on YouTube.
Perfect. Well, there you have it, Karl Klausewitz. Thank you very much, Karl.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining me on Big Life Weekly series. I hope today's episode gave you the insight, inspiration, and tools you need to move closer to the life you're meant to live. Remember, true success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about how you feel while you achieving it. If you found value in our conversation, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with others who are ready to embrace their big life. Until next time, stay focused, keep growing, enjoy life, and break free.